They warned me, but I laughed. Every man has his habits, I said. My mother stared long at me and muttered, "No man sleeps with one eye open without a reason." I did not listen. I had fallen for Dike the day I saw him at the stream, carrying a wounded goat like it was nothing. His eyes were deep, his voice soft, but his smile never full. He married me after just 3 months. I felt chosen, but on our wedding night, I saw it. One eye shut, the other wide, watching me. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Maybe it was a nervous tick. Maybe he had nightmares. I tried closing his eye gently as he slept. It would pop back open. His breathing remained steady, and he never flinched. The eye just stared. I began sleeping with my back turned. Some nights, I would wake and find him still watching me. I joked about it once. "You don't trust me?" I asked, smiling. He smiled back. Only half his mouth moved. "Trust is end," he said, even in sleep. Weeks passed, I became restless. I asked his cousin Obi if Dike had always been like that. Obi laughed uneasily. "He's special," he said. "He has survived things most men wouldn't talk about." I pressed for more, but Obi shook his head and changed the topic. That night, I asked Dike directly, "Why do you sleep with one eye open?" He looked at me for long, a very long moment. "Because the dead don't always stay buried." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but his face did not change. That night, I dreamt of blood. It was everywhere in our compound, in the stream, dripping from the sky like rain. I woke up with a scream. Dike didn't move. His eye was open, watching me. "You saw something," he said calmly. "What did you see?" My heart pounded. I did not answer. He didn't ask again. Instead, he stood, walked outside, and whispered into the dark. I crept to the door and listened. The wind answered back, not like leaves rustling, but like voices, soft, cold, and familiar. The next morning, our goat was dead. No wound, no blood, just lying stiff, eyes wide, staring at the sky. Dike buried it with his bare hands. I watched him from the window as he dropped the last handful of sand. He whispered again, "Sleep well, old friend." That night, he held me closer than ever before. "If anything happens," he murmured into my ear, "don't look under the bed." I laughed nervously. "Why would I?" He didn't reply. He just kissed my forehead and drifted to sleep, one eye opened again. Curiosity gnawed at me. For 3 nights, I resisted the urge. On the fourth, I broke. Dike was fast asleep, half covered, one eye wide. I crawled to the edge of the bed and bent below. I lifted the cloth. At first, I saw nothing, just dust and shadows. Then I saw it, a tin wooden box wrapped in red cloth, bound with cowries and rope. My heart stopped. As I reached, a whisper sliced the air. "Don't!" I looked up. Dickie hadn't moved, but his eyes blinked. I jumped back into the bed, trembling. The next morning, he acted like nothing happened. He whistled as he swept the yard and even brought me roasted plantain. But when I reached for the broom, he held my wrist and whispered, "Some things must never be uncovered." I nodded, not trusting my voice, but questions festered in my belly. I needed answers. I began visiting old women in the village, the ones who sat under the udala tree, chewing cola and remembering everything. They looked at each other when I mentioned Dike's name. One finally spoke. "He's not from here," she said. "He came from Umuaka." After their rain turned red, I blinked. Red? The others nodded. They said the dead rose for one night, just one, and Dike was the only one left alive by dawn. My mouth dried. "Why?" I asked. The eldest woman leaned closer. "Because he made a deal. she whispered. But deals with the dead always demand payment. I went home shaking. Dike met me at the door. You went asking, he said. His tone wasn't angry, just sad. I warned you, Nwanne. That night I didn't sleep. I watched him instead. Hours passed and the room stayed still. Then I saw it. His lips moved, but no sound came out. Then under the bed something moved. I froze. A pale hand, thin as sticks, slid out and touched his ankle, then vanished. Dike exhaled peacefully. By morning, Dike looked stronger, younger. I, on the other hand, felt drained. I stumbled outside to fetch water and saw three lizards staring at me, motionless, lined up in a row. I blinked. They didn't move. I threw a stone and they scattered, but something about their gaze lingered in my chest like smoke. I asked Dike again, what is under the bed? He sighed. The past and the price I paid to keep it where it belongs. Then he looked at me with both eyes. You are in danger now. I wanted to scream. Instead, I whispered, danger from what? Dike didn't blink. From them, he said. From the things I keep away while you sleep. That's why I must stay half awake. My lips trembled. Why didn't you tell me? He shook his head slowly. You would have run, and they would have followed. That night he did not sleep. Neither did I. We sat in silence, holding hands. But just before dawn, I heard a creak under the bed. Dike gripped my wrist. Whatever happens, do not speak to it. The sun rose, but the house remained cold. That morning, the mirror in our bedroom cracked from the inside. We hadn't touched it. I told Dike. He stared at it long and hard, then covered it with a cloth. It's beginning, he said. They are testing the walls. I asked, who are they? He looked so tired. I don't know their names, only their hunger. That evening, a neighbor knocked. She said she saw me walking barefoot near the shrine at midnight, but I had never left the house. I stopped sleeping. My body ached from fear. I began to see shadows where there were none. Dike remained calm, but his skin grew colder each night. I asked again, what did you do in Umuaka? He finally told me. I buried my brother alive, he said. My breath caught. Why? His eyes burned. Because he had made a pact to summon the dead for power. I stopped him halfway, before the ritual finished, but part of it remained. He looked down, and part of him still follows. My knees buckled. I sat on the floor and wept. You should have told me, I sobbed. Dike knelt beside me. I didn't want you to carry what I carry. I looked into his eyes, both open now, but I already do. That night, I dreamt of a boy clawing out of a coffin, eyes wide and bleeding. He whispered my name again and again until I woke choking. Dike wasn't beside me. I turned. He was on the floor, surrounded by salt. The box under the bed was open. The red cloth was missing. The cowries scattered. Dike's eyes were closed, both of them. I called his name, shook him. Nothing. I tried to step over the salt, but the air thickened like smoke. Then I saw it. A figure in the corner, small, hunched. Its face was wrapped in leaves, but it spoke with my voice. He broke the pact. You will finish it. I screamed and threw the lamp. Fire scattered. The figure vanished. Dike gasped and sat up, sweating. It touched you, didn't it? I couldn't answer. My throat burned. Dike did not wait. He wrapped the box in a fresh cloth, this time black, and sealed it with ground charcoal. We are leaving, he said. Tonight, I packed nothing. I didn't care. As we stepped outside, the sky was red, not with sunset, but with something thicker. The trees leaned towards us like they were listening. Dike didn't speak until we reached his late father's compound, miles away. The place was abandoned, but clean. They can't cross here, he said. It's consecrated for now. I tried to sleep that night, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw the figure, smaller now, crawling, whispering in my voice. Dike watched me silently. They want you now, he said, because you're closer to life than I am. I frowned. What does that even mean? He reached into his shirt and pulled out a small clay pendant. This binds me between life and death. It was how I stayed awake. But now you must wear it. He tied it around my neck. The air went still. The next morning, I woke up to silence. Dike was gone. I ran outside. No footprints, no notes. Just the red wrapped box on the doorstep. I wanted to run, scream, destroy it, but the pendant grew warm against my chest. Then I heard him, Dike's voice, in the wind. Don't open it. Guard it. I will return when they sleep again. For days I waited. Nights were colder. I no longer dreamed. I wandered in memories that weren't mine. I saw Umuaka burning, and I saw a brother smile as he was buried alive. I heard the village drums one evening. I rushed out barefoot. The wind told me something had happened. A child had vanished. One of the villagers said had spoken of the woman who never blinked. I froze. They meant me. I hadn't left the house in days. Yet something was using my face. I returned home and stared into a bowl of water. My reflection blinked, but not when I did. It blinked twice, then smiled. I screamed. The pendant burned hot. The reflection whispered, "He's mine now." I smashed the bowl. The water hissed like fire. The box on the floor rattled. I backed away, heart racing. Then I saw them. Footprints in ash, leading to the door. Dike's footprints. I followed them outside, barefoot, trembling. They led to the shrine behind the house, his father's shrine, a place I had never dared approach. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, it was dark. I stepped in. My name echoed once, then silence, then his voice. I never truly left, but neither did he. I turned, expecting Dike, but what I saw made my knees give way. Two figures stood in the dark. One was Dike, gaunt and pale. The other looked exactly like him, but with hollow eyes and black veins running down his arms. "This is the part of me I buried," Dike said. "But I never killed it." The second figure smiled. "She's stronger than you," it said. "She can finish what we began." I screamed, but no sound came. The pendant around my neck pulsed once. Then the second, Dike vanished. Dike rushed to my side. "You saw him?" he whispered. "Then there's still time." I grabbed his hand. "What is happening to me?" He helped me up. "They are choosing between me and you." I pulled away. "Why me?" He looked ashamed. "Because I loved you more than I should." They feed on ties like ours. Emotion binds them. My heart sank. "So loving you cost me?" He touched my cheek. "No, loving me made you powerful. But now you must break the bond or one of us will not survive." I stared at him breathless. "What do I have to do now?" Dike hesitated. "The box, they want it opened." They whispered through it, lure through it. "If you open it willingly, they take you. If I open it, they take me. But if we open it together," he paused, "we bond the bond." My hands trembled. "And if it doesn't work?" He gave a sad smile. Then we both vanished. That night we sat cross-legged before the box. The house creaked around us. Wind howled, flames flickered, and time slowed. We held hands over the box. Speak nothing, Dike warned. No matter what you hear. I nodded. Together we untied the rope. Cowries fell to the floor like teeth. As we lifted the lid, a foul stench filled the air, like rotten fruit and forgotten bones. Whispers grew louder, circling us. Dike, Dike, she will betray you. Nwanne, he lied. He buried his mother too. The voices clawed at us. I clenched my teeth. Dike's grip tightened. Then, from within, the box. A pale face rose, grinning. It was the brother. He spoke without lips. I have waited, he hissed. Now I feed. But something changed. The pendant glowed blindingly bright. Dike screamed, falling back. I lunged forward, my instincts taking over. I snatched the box, hauled it into the fire. The brother's face twisted in fury. No, he growled. You cannot savor what was sealed in blood. But the flames roared higher. The pendant cracked into two. Dike clutched his chest, gasping. Then suddenly the wind stopped. Silence fell like a hammer and the box was gone. I turned to Dike. He was on his knees, eyes wide, gasping for air. What did we do? I cried. He looked up at me, both eyes fully shut. I think I'm free. The words barely escaped his lips before he collapsed. I held him, screamed his name, shook his shoulders. He was still breathing, but faintly. The house began to shake. Dust rained from the ceiling. Shadows danced across the walls, snarling. Then one shadow stopped and bowed to me. It whispered, "Debt paid." And just like that, everything stilled. I carried Dike to the room, laid him gently on the mat. He slept, both eyes closed. For the first time since I met him, peace covered his face. I wept for him, for us, for the love that invited monsters. I stayed awake that night holding his hand. The shadows did not return. No whispers, no creaks. Just silence and the distant sound of a night bird singing. At dawn, he stared. Did we win? He asked. I smiled. I don't know, but you're here, and that's enough for me. We stayed hidden for weeks. The villagers thought we had died. When we returned, people whispered and crossed themselves. I didn't care. Dike smiled at everyone, freely now, and slept like a newborn each night. But something had changed in me. I no longer feared shadows. I heard whispers before they reached me. One night, a girl came crying. Her mother had vanished near the old shrine. I followed the wind, listened to the ground. I found the mother at the river's edge, alive but dazed. The spirits now feared me. Word spread quickly. They started calling me the eye that sees both ways. People came with questions, tears, curses. I never asked for it, but I understood now. I was marked by what we survived. I couldn't pretend to be ordinary. Dike helped me. He planted a sacred tree in our yard and built a bench beneath it. We called it the listening place. There the lost came, the grieving, the haunted. I never touched the charms, never made promises. I only listened. Sometimes that was all they needed. But peace doesn't last forever. One evening, I saw a child staring at me from the edge of the forest. His eyes were pure white, no irises, no lids, just blank glowing circles. He smiled, turned and walked into the trees. I followed without thinking. The forest pulsed with breath. Deeper in, I saw a stone altar I had never seen before. Atop, it was a new box wrapped in green this time. I reached for it, but a hand gripped mine. Dike, not again, he whispered. We decide now. I stared at him. Why does it keep happening? Dike didn't answer right away. He looked at the box, then at me. Because we are both marked, he said. Not by curses, but by survival. The spirits know we have seen behind their veil. They want us to forget, but they also want us to return. I shivered. Then what do we do? Dike stepped forward, eyes steady. We returned home in silence. That night, Dike held me close, breathing calmly, but I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing a faint heartbeat beneath the earth. Was it the box or my own fear? At dawn, I returned to the forest alone. The altar was gone, just trees. No hole, no box. The earth looked untouched, but carved into the bark of the nearest tree were words that weren't there before. You didn't open it, but someone will. My chest tightened. Somewhere, another story was beginning, one we might not stop. Weeks turned into months and peace returned. I learned to sleep again, not with one eye open, but with a quiet mind. Dike began planting herbs and tending to animals. He smiled more. Dike never spoke of his brother again, but sometimes I would catch him staring at the shadows, as if listening. He said he no longer feared them, but they had not forgotten him. I understood. There are things in this world that hunger for memory, for emotion, and once you offer it, they taste your soul forever. But we had chosen differently. We chose love over fear, truth over silence. Some days were hard, some nights came with distant whispers, but every time we reminded each other we survived together. One day, a stranger arrived, a woman cloaked in blue, with one eye white and the other red. She did not speak. She just handed me a scroll sealed with wax, shaped like a crying face. I opened it. Inside were just 6 words. You opened nothing, but you watched. I looked up, she was gone. I told Dike. He nodded gravely. They test the watchers too, he said. That night we lit 7 candles around our home, not in fear, in warning. The wind didn't howl that night, it waited. We began teaching others, those who had seen things but were too afraid to speak. We created circles beneath the Udala trees under moonlight. People brought stories, dreams, and secrets. No one was mocked. Some cried, some shook, some laughed bitterly. But one thing connected them all. They had all seen eyes in places where none should be. Dike always reminded them, fear doesn't make you weak. Silence does. I reminded them, don't let the dead write your story. And together, we began to turn fear into strength. One night, an old man came to the gathering. He carried a bag of bones and said they whispered in his sleep. He had buried them years ago after a war, but they had returned. Dike held his hand. Have you ever told their story? The man shook his head, eyes watering. So we let him speak. He spoke for hours. When he finished, the bones in his bag crumbled into dust. He looked younger, lighter. The fire that night turned blue, and no one dreamed of blood. As the seasons changed, so did we. I no longer feared mirrors. I looked into them with both eyes now, knowing what they could hold, but also what they couldn't. Dike laughed more, aged slower. Sometimes I would catch him watching me sleep, but with both eyes closed. A moment later, habit, he would say, smiling. We rebuilt our house, planted trees with thick roots and wide leaves. Each room had a symbol carved into its beams, not for protection, but remembrance, so we could never forget what tried to erase us. Years passed, people began calling our home the House of Two Eyes. Pilgrims came not to be saved but to understand, and we told them our truth, not a tale of monsters, but of choices, of curiosity, trust, and love that withstood darkness. I wrote everything down, page after page, so that if someone ever met a man who slept with one eye open, they would know not to laugh, not to run, but to ask, to listen, and to decide what part of the truth they were ready to carry. Now, as I sit beneath the tree Dike planted with his own hands, I think of that first night, the way his eyes stayed open, the way my heart raced. I know now, it wasn't fear that kept him awake, it was protection, love shaped into vigilance. And though our journey twisted through shadows and silence, we came through it whole. If you ever meet someone who carries a secret like a second heartbeat, don't look away. Listen, love them carefully, and never ever open the box alone. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to this point, please give this video a thumbs up. It will help grow my small YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, do well to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I post more interesting content like this. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on these stories. If you haven't gone through my page, do well to go through my channel. I have more interesting videos like this. See you guys in my next video. Bye. Thank you for watching.